What's going on, guys? Greg Popovich here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the news that Tim Duncan, a new assistant coach for the San Antonio Spurs. Now, of course, it's no big surprise that after the retirement of Tim Duncan, he did remain, of course, close to the team, as he had spent his 19 seasons there, tied for the second most by a player in NBA history. Whenever we think of a loyal player or the San Antonio Spurs, we always do think about somebody like Tim Duncan, and of course a very great, most likely and unarguably to me, would be the greatest power forward that ever played the game. Now, whenever we look at this, we're of course going to be talking, do we think the fact that he can be a good assistant head coach, and of course not only that, with Greg Popovich very much stating the fact that he may be coming close to the end with coaching the San Antonio Spurs, would he be somebody that the Spurs would look at as the next head coach for their team? Now, of course, it's going to depend on how he does like coaching and things such as that, but I think the fact that it's something he would like to do, as I mentioned before, he has been around the team and practices things such as that whenever we're talking about this. Now, of course, this is with many Spurs players that they're known for sticking around past their years there. We see definitely players like David Robinson and players such as that we see them around the team. Now, one of the reasons why I think the fact that he would be a good head coach would be the fact of his style of play. Now, many players do rely on athleticism, and right here I have his per 36 throughout his third year in the league and his second to last year in the league. And right here you can definitely see, now he was an all-star in both of these years, and you can definitely see the fact that despite him being 38 years old in the 2014-15 season, he still puts up very similar numbers and actually even scores that 17 points per game despite a lower amount, about 2% better as far as from the field in that year. So it shows the fact that he was not a very person that at the end of the year, despite losing his athleticism, didn't really affect his game, because he was of course known for being the big fundamental. And one of the great things about something like that is the fact that he knows an offense. Of course, whenever we think about the mind and the intelligence of the game, he's obviously been coached by one of the greatest head coaches that has ever coached in the NBA, in Greg Popovich. And as I mentioned, of course, Greg Popovich, who definitely will be coaching up to 2020, as he will be coaching the U.S. men's Olympic team, which has always been a dream of Greg Popovich, as he is very much a military standard of play and definitely has lots of pride in his country, and has been, despite being an assistant head coach for the U.S. men's Olympic team for the past few years, he definitely wanted to try out being the head coach for one season and trying that out. So despite that, we do not know his future as far as beyond 2020, whether he'll continue wanting to coach throughout then, or whether or not he will probably maybe pass the torch on. And Tim Duncan could be that person, of course, depending on, like I mentioned, how it really fits into well together. Now, we do see many times where great NBA players do not end up becoming great coaches, and what I really think that is the fact that many players have athletic gifts and things such as that just put them beyond other players. And other players, whenever we think of players that have those smaller technique and skill sets that just help them extend to be better, are the players that usually are great head coaches and great players. For an example, a player like Larry Bird was a very great player, was very much known for being not the tallest or the strongest or the fastest, but the person who was in the right situation at the right time. And when he was the coach of the Indiana Pacers, of course, being able to take them to their only NBA championship attempt in the finals, whenever we definitely see that. Now, of course, he only did coach for 3 seasons after he then went into being executive, and actually won executive of the year as well. We definitely see the fact that somebody like Tim Duncan is a player that does know the fundamentals of the game. He does know technique, things such as that. He knows high basketball IQ as far as the way that he performs on and off the court as well. So he is definitely a person that is a leader, somebody that already does garner respect just because of what he has done on the court. And I think the fact that that's something that many coaches, new coaches, definitely has a struggling point with when it comes to NBA players. It's very much difficult if you don't have a resume already to step into that position. But when you're an NBA legend such as Tim Duncan, it's a lot more easier for you to get the attention of some of those other players that come into the organization. And I think the fact that the Spurs definitely do remind you of a team that wants to stick around their basic build of teams, players, having that same familiar faces and things such as that. As we know, their front office stability is very highly done. Everything from the Greg Popovich tree, we see so many coaches, especially, of course, in this former year, being the Mike Budenholzer, two-time Coach of the Year winner from the Greg Popovich tree. So you definitely think the fact that has the ability and his teachings do transfer over to other coaches as well. So it's something to definitely look into when we're talking about how this could really look out. And of course, I always want to know what your guys' thoughts are when it comes to Tim Duncan going into this coaching position. Do you think the fact that he could become a successful coach, and do you think the fact that he will try to attempt to go into head coach, and do you think that job could maybe be the San Antonio Spurs, or do you think it would be maybe a different team? Personally, I think the fact that he would try to stick with San Antonio and maybe be the bring on in the next step from Greg Popovich. But of course, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are, so definitely tell me in the comments below what you guys' thoughts are as far as Tim Duncan and what you think his coaching career does have in him. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys leave a like and subscribe to become part of the Greek Army today. And as always, this is Sparta.